We welcome Will Kane to the show and Damian Whitty also back with us. Hi, guys.
Will, what's up?
What's up, Damian?
All right, Will, I'm going to start with you. Would the Cowboys be in a better position if Zeke had served his suspension at the beginning of the season?
Yes, they would be in a better position. But let's not just advance the conversation as though the playoff hopes are over, right?
Okay.
I mean, let's not just pretend I don't care what the percentages say. And this is why I'm here, because you folks at home, you need to know what reality is, and that cackle can distort reality. Look, all that has to happen is for the Lions to lose one and one of those NFC South teams to lose two. And that's very realistic when they're all playing each other over the next 2 weeks. And if, for once in his life, Jameis can step up and Dirk Cutter can save his job and they can win one game, the Cowboys are in the playoffs and the NFL is on notice. But, Molly, you asked me a very specific question in a specific way. Would they be in a better position? And the answer is undoubtedly yes. I think they would have still gone the same 3-3 over the first 6 games of the seasons with or without Zeke. And then you ask yourself, well, if Zeke comes back in week 8 after their bye, they had a bye, then week 7, he comes back to play the Redskins. I think Zeke gets in that lineup, things get rolling. In those games against the Falcons, those games against the Chargers, they don't look the same way. Even that blowout against the Eagles. Once Zeke's part of it, Dak starts getting part of it, gets in his playing rhythm, and I think you would have seen the season build, and they would have won that all-important game against the Falcons, which right now hurts more than any other.
Damian?
You see, I don't think it would have mattered either way, because to me, because Jason Garrett's the coach, it doesn't matter. And I think anytime you're missing key parts in the team, a lot of it is dependent on how the coaches scheme to try to compensate for when a guy is down. And we've seen it with the New England Patriots. We've seen it with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I just don't have the confidence that Jason Garrett, whether it's Zeke at the beginning of the year or the time that he missed now, that he would know how to compensate in order for that train to keep rolling. Listen, Zeke being out of lineup, Dallas Cowboys are averaging 10 points less per game. They're averaging 75 yards less per game. Those are huge numbers. You would think they still have a lot of talent on their roster. We all know that Zeke is a key component in the special things that he brings to the table. But to fall off to the point where you're averaging 10 points less per game offensively, a lot of that has to do with coaching. So I'll point to that reason as to why I don't think it would have mattered if Zeke had missed the first 6 or, what he just missed. If it would have mattered, it wouldn't have mattered either way to me because I don't believe in Jason Garrett.
Max?
I can't believe we're asking that question but even better is the fact that Will says yes,
because they're alive right now. Right.
Think about this for a second. The question is, would the season be different if Ezekiel Elliott had served his suspension in the beginning? What was the Cowboys' record, Will, when Ezekiel Elliott served his suspension over the 6 games? What was his record? What was their record?
3-3.
3-3. And what was their record to start the season?
Same thing. 3-3.
Right. I rest my case. I mean, there's nothing more to say. No, it would be exactly the same. It couldn't be more obvious that it would be the same. They went 3-3 without him. They started the season at 3-3. And they lost some of those games that he played, and he had 100 yards, 80 yards, and a touchdown, and they still lost the game. Over the course of the season, would Ezekiel Elliott make the difference between a game or two? Sure, absolutely. I think so. If you're an 8-8 team, you'd go 9-7. 9-7, 10-6. Would he make the difference in the playoffs if he played full season or not? Absolutely, yes. But in this case, the first 6 games, they were 3-3. He misses 6 games, they're 3-3. No, the season would be exactly the same with wherever he served that suspension.
I disagree with you, Max, and here's why I disagree with you. I think that probably I look at the Dallas Cowboys being 3-3 to start off the season, and I'm of the mindset they would have been 4-2 because I think they would have beaten Denver, and that one game would have put them. You guys look at a couple of things actually. I think they would have beaten Denver game 2. Yes,
they lost by
I think they would have beaten
Denver.
You think that game would have been closer? Without Zeke, that game would have been better.
No, I think that Dallas came into the game. I think the distractions, I think the fact that they took Denver for granted. I think a couple of things were going on in that particular game. The Dallas Cowboys did not show up. I think that they would have been more on their P's and Q's without Ezekiel Elliott, knowing that you didn't have him. And I think the outcome would have been different in that particular game. Now, I also think that with Ezekiel Elliott, because he would have been back again had he taken the 6-game suspension at the beginning of the season, I also think that Dallas would have went to Atlanta and would have beat Atlanta Atlanta in that game. So it's two things that would have happened. They would have been one game better in my estimation. And number two, they wouldn't have to worry about being behind Atlanta in head-to-head competition, because I think they may have beaten Atlanta in that particular game, that they lost to Atlanta. So those two components, I think, would have put the Dallas Cowboys in a better position just by one game, but also not looking up at Atlanta, which would have put them in a better position to get towards the playoffs this season.
Hey, Stephen
That's
A,
the key. The Atlanta game. That's the key. The Atlanta game. You can't ever assume they would have beaten Denver without the without Zeke. I get the distraction.
I can do.
Hey, Max.
Time out. We have our beliefs. That is mine. That's what I feel. Period.
Okay.
And I can do it because I want to. Okay.
Some people do insane things.
Tell him, Stephen A.
Their offensive
People
line
can do
got
insane
pushed around.
things. You're right.
Hey, Stephen A,
People can do insane things. Like Max, hold on.
Hey, Stephen A, you talk about the Denver game. You're saying that the Cowboys didn't come in right. Isn't that part of coaching? Isn't that part of coaching?
I agree.
Make sure you go into a game.
I've never been a fan of Jason Garrett.
Even if you're shorthanded, a coach had to know. He knew what the deal was as far as suspension and everything. Well, it's his job to make sure that his team comes ready.
Coaching wouldn't have made a difference, guys.
Why are you acting like I disagree with that? Are you not listening to me?
I'm just saying that.
Have you not listening to me going about Jason Garrett?
Well, listen, my whole thing has been y'all talking about Zeke. If it would have been a difference if Zeke had served at one point in the season as opposed to another. This thing, to me, doesn't have anything to do with Zeke. It has to do with the coaching. I don't believe in the coaching in Dallas. You can plug Zeke at any point. I just think the coaching stinks in Dallas.
Well, that may be, Damian, but let me tell you something. When this suspension serve does matter. I mean, Stephen A., though he has an ability to and apparently a willingness to believe in insane things from time to time, he's right about this suspension would have been better at the beginning. And, Max, your idea that 3-3 here and 3-3 here, apples, as though it's all the same, you don't even believe that. I can tear that apart in a matter of 30 seconds. I don't even want to ask you rhetorical questions like, do you believe losses at the beginning? Do you believe losses at the beginning of the season, at the end of the season, are the same? Do you believe teams can go on runs? Would you rather be on a run in December? You believe all those things. I need to find out from you. So saying that it doesn't matter when it comes in is insane. Yes, thank you. So we can move on.
It doesn't. At the end of the season, at the end of the season, I love this, how people insist on their subjective realities over the objective world. You want to make it like college football where your opinions start to come in. Well, that loss happened earlier or later. Let me tell you how it works, just as a statement of fact. At the end of the season, you add up all the wins and losses. You do not weigh them. They're not weighted averages. It's not weighted differently because it occurred in the beginning or the end. Every single win and loss counts precisely the same. That's just a statement of fact.
Do teams go on runs? Do teams go on runs in the NFL?
Sure. Yes.
Would a team
and
with
whether they
Ezekiel Elliott
happen
have
early or late is irrelevant.
Would a team with Ezekiel Elliott have a better chance of putting its run together towards the end of the season?
Yes, if you have Ezekiel Elliott, wherever he plays, you have a better chance of putting a run together. The run in the beginning of the season would have counted the same as the run at the end of the season. The only way it's relevant is heading into the playoffs if you're hot. If you make the playoffs and you're hot, that's good, but they're probably not going to make the playoffs. It's irrelevant.
All right, guys, we shall see. We'll see you on Monday, rain or shine, if Dallas. Oh, and Will, and you're
going to see me.
I get
to about 5 minutes.
I get to see you in 5 minutes too. That's awesome. Can't wait. Merry Christmas. All right, coming up next, Louisville's Brian Bowen.